Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave from Chase the Summit, and in this video we're going to be taking a close look at the Insta360 GO 2 action camera. I'm kind of late to this party. The Insta360 GO 2 has been out for a few months now, and every tech reviewer under the sun has taken a look at this camera in a pretty in-depth comparison with other cameras. However, I want to look at this camera from a different perspective. I use action cameras almost daily to capture content for this YouTube channel, whether it be hiking, trail running, road running, all kinds of different activities outside. And I love when these action cameras just kind of get out of the way and let me enjoy the experience of whatever I'm doing when I'm outside. And trust me when I say that I've tried just about every action camera under the sun. If you go back on my YouTube channel, you'll find videos about them. But there's something different about the Insta360 GO 2. It really just gets out of the way and lets you enjoy the experience you're trying to do instead of making you fiddle with an electronic while you're trying to enjoy the outdoors. But the GO 2 is not without its own issues, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video today. Before we dive into this video, if you find it enjoyable, helpful, entertaining, you think I'm funny looking, any of the above, consider hitting the thumbs up button and the subscribe button down below. It really helps out my channel, helps me grow, makes me happy. And if you are interested in picking up an Insta360 GO 2, I will have links in the description that do help support my channel, but they cost nothing extra to you. And in full disclosure, Insta360 did provide this camera for the purpose of this video. I did not pay for this camera. However, this is not a sponsored video, and I intend to give you my honest and unbiased opinion when I talk about it, because there are a couple of things I don't like about it, and I'm definitely going to cover them in this video. This video is going to come in kind of two parts. First, we're going to go through the contents of the box and talk about the basic specs of the GO 2. Don't worry, I won't spend too much time on that. Then we're going to take the camera outside and do some real-life testing with it alongside my GoPro Hero 9 Black to see how it stacks up. Without further ado, let's get into the box and see what comes with the Insta360 GO 2. Okay, let's open up this cover here, and then you're greeted with this kind of bifold thing, and inside of here there is something. Let's dig it out if I can figure out how to get it out. Okay, so here's the magnetic lanyard, and this is a pretty interesting little device. Basically, you wear this over your head. Oh, my head's too big. Basically, you wear this over your head, and then you stick this part down in your shirt, which is kind of weird. Looks a little bit weird, but if you take the Insta360 GO 2 camera, you can actually mount it right there, and you've got a little camera just hanging out on your shirt. I can tell you, I haven't tested this out so far. It's kind of cool, and maybe it might be exciting for like if you're going to like a wedding or something and you want it to be kind of discreet. Okay, next up, we've got some instructions on how to use the camera. Underneath that, we've got the full guide, and I'm definitely not going to read that. And down at the bottom here, we've got a few accessories for the GO 2. First up, we've got the standard USB Type-C to USB Type-A USB cable. Next to that, we've got this handy little clip, and this little handy clip, basically you pop your GO 2 in there, and now you can actually clip this to the visor of a hat, which is kind of interesting. So there you go. This is real first-person perspective stuff. It's kind of in my way. And then the final component in the box here is kind of a combo mount. It's got a little ball joint here, and basically you can drop your GO 2 into the top, magnetically secures in there, and it's really secure. And with the camera mounted in there, now we've got little swivel joint. You can move it around in any direction, and you can hold this like a selfie stick if you want to just get a quick shot of yourself. But there's also the ability to slide off this part here, and underneath, there's a little sticky pad. This sticky pad allows you to mount the GO 2 on any smooth surface, and it's actually really secure. And what's interesting about it is it's not a single time use. So you can use it and then cover it up with the little plastic cover that comes with it. When you want to use it again, you can rinse it off under the sink and it becomes sticky all over again. Okay, so that was the contents of the box, but let's focus on the things you probably care the most about. And that's going to be the camera itself and also the charging case that comes with it. This is really interesting design. Basically, the GO 2 camera is just so tiny. I mean, here's my finger, right? If I put this on top of my finger, it's basically like the size of your index finger. It is so tiny, and it's amazing how much technology they can cram into such a small little device. And then along with that, you've got the Insta360 GO 2 charging case. And when you open that up, you drop your camera inside the charging case. And now the camera is actually charging. You can see a little red light there because it's inside the case. And the case doesn't just charge the camera, it's multi-purpose. So basically, when you close it, it is protecting the camera. This is actually pretty cool because it looks like you're carrying around just like some AirPods or something. I can fit this in my pocket. I don't know if you can see it. maybe not, but it's very comfortable to just throw in your pocket, and it's super convenient to just have on you all the time. And that's probably where they coined the name Go 2, I guess. Now let's talk about some of the other benefits of the case aside from charging the camera. First up, you've got a built-in tripod. This is actually pretty cool. So basically you fold out these little legs on the bottom here, and now I can actually sit this down on a table like this, and the camera is self-supported, so you can put this down on any surface or maybe up on a table or on a rock while you're out hiking or whatever, and get some cool perspective angles without lugging around a tripod with you. Okay, and the final use of this case is going to be that it's actually a wireless remote for the Insta360 GO 2. Basically, when you've got the camera inside the case, you've got a little screen at the bottom here. The screen will actually tell you what mode you're in. And next to your little mode button here, you've actually got a dedicated record button for the camera when it's mounted in the case. But the cool thing is that I can actually remove the camera from the case, and the case can still connect to the camera. So you can still trigger it to record just by clicking the button here. Just vibrate it on the table, and you can see that the blue light is now flashing on the camera, indicating that it's recording. And this is probably a really weird video to be watching right now. So you could have the camera mounted to a helmet, or maybe on your shirt or on a backpack or something, and still have the ability to hit record and pause and, you know, change the modes and stuff right from the wireless remote. The build quality of the case and the camera does feel really robust. It doesn't feel like a cheap made thing at all. It is all plastic except for the hinge, I think might be metal. Now, something to keep in mind if you plan on taking the camera and case out on an adventure where you might be in the rain or you're going swimming or something, you would assume that an action camera is going to be waterproof. And it is, but there's a little asterisk there. The actual camera itself, the Go 2 inside of the case, is waterproof to 15 feet when it's out of the case, so you can submerge this in water without an issue. You probably don't want to go diving with it, but it is waterproof. However, the case itself is not waterproof, so you cannot submerge the case when you have the camera in it. In terms of video resolution, the Go 2 can record up to 1440p, which is a little bit better than 1080p, but it's not quite as good as 4K. In terms of frame rates, at that 1440p, you've got two options, either 30 frames per second or 50 frames per second. And this is probably one of my bigger complaints with the Insta360 GO 2. I don't know why they omitted 24 frames per second. That's kind of a standard for video. Basically, by only having 30p or 50p, it means that you can't get a 2x slow motion at 30p because you need 60p. And you can't use 50p as 2x slow motion because you don't have the option to record in 24p. So it's kind of confusing why they left out 24p altogether. When it comes to video modes on the Insta360 GO 2, you've got a few options. First up, you've got standard video mode. This basically just does standard stabilization, and it crops into the frame for you, so you've only got the option of a 16:9 aspect ratio. Next to video mode, you've also got pro video mode, and this one is pretty important. I actually don't know why they didn't just leave pro video mode on all the time by default and just kind of deleted video mode, because this is so much better. Basically, pro video mode allows you to reframe your shot after you record the video. The Insta360 GO 2 actually records a square frame. Instead of a standard 16:9 aspect ratio, it actually records a bigger frame than that, and it's a perfect square 1:1 ratio. And this lens is super wide. It's capturing a really wide field of view with that square frame. What's interesting about Pro Video Mode is that it records that entire square 1:1 frame with a super wide field of view, and then after the fact, it crops into that frame to get your 16:9 aspect ratio for video. But more importantly, it also means that you can frame vertically and have a 9:16 aspect ratio for posting on like Snapchat or Instagram or whatever you do. And I thought this was really clever because a lot of times I record something, you know, running or hiking or whatever, and then I post it in a video to YouTube, but then I want to make a little promo video for an Instagram story, and I don't have the ability to reframe my shot to be vertical, so I end up cropping in. It doesn't look great. On this camera, now I've got the ability to have 2 frames out of 1 clip of video. Pretty awesome, and kind of a standout feature in the Pro Video mode on the GO 2. Another cool feature about the GO 2 and that square frame that it's recording in Pro Video mode is that it has automatic horizon leveling, which means if you take your camera and you spin it entirely upside down over and over again, the frame that's recorded by the camera is going to stay horizon level. So it won't even actually look like the camera's moving. Again, this is really awesome, and it's something the GoPro Hero 9 Black actually does, but not to the extent of the GO 2, because the GO 2 has an entire 360-degree rotation, where the GoPro Hero 9 Black can only do about 15 degrees in either way, unless you buy a $100 add-on lens mod. However, there is one limitation to the Pro Video mode that's a little bit annoying, and that that is the fact that you have to process every clip of video individually in the Insta360 software after you record all of your clips. If you don't process the video, you're gonna end up with that big square clip, which looks kind of funny, and you can't post it to any social media or YouTube or anything because it's not the right aspect ratio. So if you want to have usable clips, you have to go through the Insta360 app and actually export all of the clips individually, and that can be very time consuming if you've got a lot of video footage. But like I said, if you want to just have clips that you can use right off the bat and not have to deal with exporting them, you can use that standard video mode and kind of give up some of the features like Go 2 just to speed up the process. Another limitation of the Insta360 Go 2 is that it does not have a removable SD card. So you're kind of stuck with the internal storage of the camera itself. Inside the camera, there's 29 gigabytes of usable storage, and that's where you can put all your video and photo files. That equates to about 100 minutes, I think, give or take, of actual video in 1440p. So it is a good amount of video, but if you do run out of space, you can't just pop a card out and put a new card in. You actually have to offload all that footage to the phone app in order to clear out the storage on the camera. And again, that can be kind of time consuming, especially if you're in a situation where you just want to grab and go and you don't want to pull out your phone and do all of that. And on the topic of non-removable things, again, the battery of the Insta360 Go 2 is internal to the camera itself. The camera, when removed from the case, will last for about 30 minutes at 1440p, which is actually pretty good for such a tiny little thing. But when you drop it back into the charging case here, you get an additional 150 minutes built into the case. And the final really cool feature about the Insta360 Go 2 is that it has Flowstate Stabilization, which is really good with a few caveats. So like I said before, it does have that standard video mode if you just want to get a clip and not have to export it from the app or whatever, you just want to plug it into a laptop. However, you're kind of limited on the stabilization that's available from that standard video mode. It will still stabilize it, but it's just not as good as what it is when it comes out of that pro video mode. So personally, I just leave the thing in pro video mode 100% of the time because pro video mode stabilization is really crazy good. Previously, I thought the GoPro Hero 9 Black was kind of the king of stabilization, and it still kind of is in some degree, but the Insta360 Go 2 is getting up there. This has crazy good stabilization if you're in pro video mode. But that's enough of me yapping about it. How about some real life footage? Well, you're in luck. Hello there. Today we're going to be comparing the image quality and usability of two cameras. We've got the Insta360 Go 2. We've also got the GoPro Hero 9 Black. We'll be testing these out in a trail running activity because that's what I do here on my channel. All right, so we are out on a trail run today, and I wanted to test the audio quality between the GoPro Hero 9 Black and the new Insta360 Go 2. I've got both cameras set up on a little selfie stick. It's about, I don't know, 18 inches long. One thing that's immediately apparent is that I can see myself in the GoPro Hero 9 Black, and I can't see myself in the Insta360 Go 2 because it doesn't have a screen on it. It does have a little screen, but it doesn't show the image, it just shows the settings of the camera. So today we're gonna be running, we're gonna be jogging, we're gonna be going uphill and downhill. And I think it's a pretty good environment to test the stabilization of both cameras. And also, this is kind of a vlog, so you can also hear what the audio quality is between the GoPro Hero 9 Black and the Insta360 Go 2. If you have a preference on which one sounds better, let me know in the comments down below. I'd like to hear from you. Okay, here's a little stabilization test. I'm gonna run as fast as I can, holding the cameras out on the selfie stick, and we'll see how they look. Another major difference between the Insta360 Go 2 and the GoPro Hero 9 Black is the fact that the GoPro can shoot 4K up to 60 frames per second. It can actually shoot 5K at 30 frames per second, where the Insta360 Go 2 is limited to 1440p. As you can see, the Insta360 GO 2 does a really good job. It takes a really nice picture. The field of view is nice and wide, even wider than the GoPro, which I really like. And the stabilization is just so good, even compared to the GoPro Hero 9 Black, which is kind of the king by today's standards. And the portability of this thing is bananas. I can throw this thing in my pocket, go for a run, put it in my backpack, go on a hike, and I barely notice it's there. I really love the form factor. And if I really want to strip this thing down, I can leave the selfie stick at home and just use the case, even as a tripod. This is a really innovative camera. I love the form factor. It gets out of the way. And I think one of the most important things about it is that it doesn't get in the way of my experience when I'm out trail running or hiking. I'm not fiddling with a little screen on the back of my GoPro, changing settings or reviewing videos that I've already taken. I don't have the ability with this camera. It's just something I can open, hit the button, it's recording, I can't see myself, I'm just framing the shot. I really like that aspect of it. It really gets out of the way and lets you enjoy what you're doing rather than focusing on the tech. So yeah, even though there are some quirks to the GO 2, I really like this camera, and this is something I'm going to be using regularly now to make content for this YouTube channel. But I want to hear from you. Are you interested in the Insta360 GO 2, or do you own one already? Let me know in the comments below what you like about it, what you hate about it. I'd really love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video and all the effort I put into it, I would really appreciate it if you'd hit the thumbs up and subscribe button down below, because it really helps out my channel. And again, if you plan on picking up an Insta360 GO 2 and this video helped you out in any way, I would appreciate it if you use the affiliate links down in the description that do help support my channel, but they cost nothing extra to you. Okay, I think I'm done now. Yeah, I'm done. I'll see you next time.